Firstly, David, a difficult afternoon against Bristol Rovers, but a really memorable week in general. What's your overriding emotions?
I think we deserved at least a point from Bristol Rovers. I mean, watched the game back, we actually played better than we thought. It's usually the case where when you think you play well, you don't play as well as when you watch it back, and when you probably think we didn't play as well, actually probably play a bit better. We definitely deserved at least a draw. We got in some fantastic positions. Credit to them. You know, that was the kind of win that we had at this stage last season. You know, your Wimbledons, your Gillinghams. However, you know, certainly in Wimbledon's case, you knew that they were a good team, and you know, they went on to achieve good things. So, you know, we feel as though it's another team that we're probably better than, even if the result didn't, you know, suggest that. And the performance, certainly in the second half, was there. The first half wasn't a poor performance, it just wasn't our usual standards. There's not much in the game, first half. It was actually quite low quality, but that's because we were expecting more. Yeah, so it's a bit disappointing, but then like you say, first defeat of the season, game number 8, fantastic midweek. I think it took a lot out of the boys, especially emotionally, which they're not used to, which is understandable, you know. So yeah, we want more nights like Wednesday night, because I think the whole town, I've never seen BP like that ever, and I've spoken to quite a few people, and they were saying the same thing. So it's been a good week overall. You know, let's be honest, people are going to remember us beating Manchester United for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is. Whereas I'm not going to be quite sure if we'd have beat Bristol Road on Saturday, they'd have remembered that for 15, 20 years. So that's not mean to say that we didn't mean to win or we didn't try to win and all that. But yeah, I think it's been a good week. Like I say, it was game 8 of, was it 28 days? I think it was. It's been a tough schedule. We've got another double game week, albeit slightly different tomorrow. But you know, we still think we're in a decent position overall as a football club, as a football team, and we've got to keep going. The test is now, do you bounce back from a defeat? There's always these little questions that come around in football, and we've got to answer that question next.
And you mentioned in previous chats we've had about taking chances and being a bit more ruthless in front of goal, and particularly I think Saturday was one of those games where, you know, it just seemed like it was never going to go in. So I'm sure that's going to be now a key aim for the coming months, for us just to improve a bit of ruthlessness in front of goal, I suppose.
Yeah, I think the key thing on Saturday was we could have created more. We didn't work out how we were creating. If we would have done that, we would have created more chances. Yeah, we can have one of them days in front of goal. It can happen. One thing I can guarantee, all the fans and supporters, we're not going to go down wondering. We're going to have a right good go every game. I think you could see that. If it's 1-0 or we're losing by the odd goal, then we might end up losing 2 or 3 because we're going to have a go. It's as simple as that. Without being like ridiculously stupid, but it doesn't always work. That's football. Like I say, you've got to give them a bit of credit for how they defended. They were hanging on, and we couldn't quite manage to get one of the many chances we had over the line. But like I say, it wasn't for one to try. You know, the endeavour was there, the desire was there. I felt as though we did waste the first 45 minutes, even now having watched it back. But you know, it's sort of understandable. It's not excusable in that sense. I don't want to think people think, well, it was inevitable. Yeah, but we've got to be a bit better than that. And we've got, like I say, we've got a game tomorrow to rectify that, and another toughie away at MK Dons on next weekend. Who suffered their first defeat on Saturday, so it's some good challenges coming up as well.
And like you mentioned, obviously, Virtue Trophy tomorrow at Bradford. I mean, how do you view that as a competition, and what's your aspirations for this season?
I think any manager who says it's as important as the league is lying. Because every manager I've spoke to definitely doesn't say that. But then there is definitely benefits to it, you know. And I don't know if the prize money comes into it, but for us it's about making sure it's a great opportunity to reinforce principles and what we're trying to get from certain players. It's a great opportunity to play players that might not have played as many minutes and maybe rest one or two. And I think every manager at this stage will think the same. And we're no different. So, yes, we want to win. Yes, it'll be extremely tough. You know, Bradford have got a really good squad. Obviously, a League One team now. However, you know, we want to get out of it what we want to get out of it, if you like. That'll be the challenge. That'll be the challenge for the players.
And it's also a really vital opportunity for you to have a good think about your team selection, isn't it? And give opportunities, like you say, to those younger players. And you know, some of our stars of the future in our academy have really impressed. I mean, in their cameos and in pre-season as well.
Yeah, I think we don't. You've got to earn the right to play in the first team. I think that's first thing. It shouldn't just be a given. You have to earn the right. You know, you have to be the best player with the 18s, or if you train with the first team, you've got to show that you are capable. So it's not as if it's just some sort of, I don't know, propaganda or something like that. You know, advert for the academy. No, you've got the lads have got to be good enough, and or what we feel are good enough, or on the right path, if you like, to be considered. And if they are, then great. If they're not, then okay, keep working. You saw last year, I think it was the last group game. You know, we played 3 or 4, and they were good. Whether it's a bit early this year, maybe. But regardless, that you know, they will get an opportunity if they're good enough. But we've got to be mindful that the pros that will play, some first team, some subs, etc. You've got to be respectful, if you like, to them as well. You can't just be throwing 3, 4, 5 kids in and going, well, because that doesn't send the right message either. So we've got to get, you know, that's I think any first team manager at this stage will say the same thing. So, and we're no different. So you've got to consider all them things and you know, back your troops, back the lads, have trust and faith that they will be good enough to be a decent Bradford team.
And like you say, it's certainly a decent Bradford team. I mean, they've had a flying start to their League One season. They haven't lost a game yet, so it's going to be a great test for whoever plays, isn't it?
Yeah, they've always been a tough outfit. You know, the size of the club, you know, the size of the budget. It's always going to be a challenge, whatever league they're in. So, and that's proven League Two and now in League One. They've got some really good players. So it'll be interesting to see how the night unfolds.
And lastly, I'm sure you're hoping that as many Mariners can come and share their sport for us.
Yeah, look, like I say, I appreciate it's not a league game. You know, if it was a league game, we'd start the away end. Any support is appreciated. I thought the fans on Saturday were magnificent. You know, the covered corner. I said to turn on Sean 10 minutes. Look at the covered corner there; it's full. Fantastic. They made some noise. I think everyone understood the first half performance. Everyone clapped at the end and stayed, and because I think they appreciated that we're having a right good goal, and we're probably unlucky not to at least get a point. And that's what we want. We're all in it together. I've said it for a long time. So any support tomorrow night is obviously greatly appreciated for lads that might need it more than on a Saturday afternoon.
Fantastic. Thank you, David.
Thank you.